This just in, FanDuel hates your favorite NBA team, Western Conference Edition. Today we're comparing over-unders to how many games your favorite team won last season. I pulled these from FanDuel earlier in the week, so there could have been some fluctuations since I pulled all this together. If, the lines move and such. And obviously, if you're using a different app, then these might not be exact. Let's start in the Northwest Division with the Minnesota Timberwolves at 49.5 for their over-under. They won 49 games last year. Anthony Edwards has the 6th best odds for MVP, and he sure ain't getting there if this team wins the exact same number of games as they did last season. The Oklahoma City Thunder are at 62.5 after their 68-win season last year. This might be the best number on the board, honestly. Expecting a repeat of last year or for the Thunder to threaten the most wins in NBA history is kind of easy to bet against, but if I had to pick a number of any possible win total that they could have and absolutely commit to it, I think it'd be 62. So well done, FanDuel. You win a stamp of approval from a YouTuber that nobody's ever heard of. Hang that honor on, the bathroom stall. The Denver Nuggets are at 53.5. They won 50 games last year. This is another great number, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just glazing. Did I use glazing correctly? I'm not hip or young or cool, but I am pretty sure that the Nuggets are going to win 54 games this year. The Utah Jazz are at 19.5 for their over-under. 17 wins last year. I imagine that there were 2 FanDuel employees who represented the Utah Jazz and the Brooklyn Nets, and they had to compete in a cage match to determine who was going to be the worst team in the NBA this year. And like the teams whose, Sharpie marker written names that they were wearing on their t-shirts, they both took off running at each other, and they just collided heads, both knocked unconscious immediately. So it was a tie. The Portland Trail Blazers at 34.5 for their over-under. They won 36 games last year, so I kind of thought FanDuel would be higher on the Blazers than this. After they ended last season on a high note, they should get some internal growth from the young guys, you would imagine, and they brought in some locker room leadership. And in Drew Holiday's case, maybe arguably the best locker room leadership in all of the NBA. And so I didn't expect a world where they'd project lower than last season. But there are many things in this world that happen despite how mind-bogglingly stupid they are. So I guess this is pretty low stakes. Jumping in quick, if you don't know, my name's Zach, and I appreciate you being here. Please subscribe to my channel if you are enjoying the video so far. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the Christmas Day games, so if you could do that, I would greatly appreciate it. So for the Pacific Division, starting with the Los Angeles Clippers, 49.5 is this over-under. They won 50 games last season. So the Los Angeles aspirations should aspire to get 50 wins, and I feel like that's the popular pick amongst the general consensus, but I have a hard time believing in it, honestly. I do think it's probably not much under, despite them being the soap opera of the NBA all season long, but I think maybe a little. The Sacramento Kings, 34.5 games. Does adding Russell Westbrook move you to believe that this team is not still trash? Apparently it does not for FanDuel, and I'm not sure that it does for me either. But I could see them finding their way to 36, maybe. Speaking of 36, that's how many games the Phoenix Suns won last year, and their over-under is set at 30.5 for this season. And I've got some more numbers for you. 23, 24, 21, 19, and 34. Those are the number of games that the Suns won after drafting Devin Booker before getting Chris Paul, and finally putting out the dumpster fire that was their franchise. We're back to a Devin Booker and a collection of misfits in Phoenix, and they're gonna be bad. But less than 30 wins bad? I don't know. I'm thinking 32 might be their ceiling, but I'm just not sure they get to said ceiling. The Los Angeles Lakers at 47.5 after winning 50 games last year. I'm a little bit surprised by this number from FanDuel. You've got the Lakers brand, which tends to influence the odds, and you have skinny Luka on a revenge tour. They've got him as the third best odds for MVP, but I think he's gonna need to have a team that has more than 47 wins if he's gonna have any chance, right? I don't know. My gut reaction before the LeBron sciatica issue was like 51-52 for them. I still think they should have 48 in them, but I feel less confident in that than I did like a week ago. The Golden State Warriors, 48.5. They won 48 last year, so I guess FanDuel and perhaps everyone other than Kevin Pelton has this team pegged as like the same as last year. Seriously though, over 60 wins for a team whose average age is also over 60. I think ESPN probably should have left that article in the drafts folder, but yeah, I don't think this number is far off. 46, 48, somewhere in that ballpark. The Southwest Division, starting with the New Orleans Pelicans, 30.5 on their over-under. They only won 21 games last year. Is FanDuel actually falling for skinny Zion? Are you? The Dallas Mavericks, 40.5 for the over-under, 39 wins last year. So FanDuel thinks that this is the same team as last year without Kyrie. I don't agree, but I'm under. The Houston Rockets, their over-under is 51.5. They won 52 last year. My immediate reaction for this team was that they would win more games than they did last year, but I'm guessing FanDuel probably agreed with that. I didn't check the odds back then before the Fred VanVleet injury, but the more I think about them without him and not knowing if they're going to make a trade to try to replace him, I'm flip-flopping to the under until further notice. The Memphis Grizzlies are at 39.5 after winning 48 last year. Yeah, I definitely think they're going to be an under from last year, so I'm on the same page in that regard. But are they actually headed for an under on not even getting to 39? Yeah, I think they might be. And finally, wrapping up the Western Conference with the San Antonio Spurs, 43.5 is this over-under. They won 34 games last year. FanDuel thinks that they are jumping 10 wins, which is a big jump in the Western Conference. Personally, I have them pegged for something more like 42. And of course, as I said last time, I realized that betting patterns influence the over-unders and the lines and all of that stuff. So when I say FanDuel hates your favorite team, what I really mean is everyone hates your favorite team. It's just more fun to imagine that it's a group of FanDuel employees that have a personal vendetta against you. Like, subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, watch the one that I did for the Eastern Conference.